Indigenous poultry farming is important because it contributes to food security, has low startup costs, can be practiced by anyone, and requires little land and labor.
I think the benefits are many. Look at the eggs, look at the meat, look at the fact that you can get organic manure, which you can actually use on the farm, and you have great vegetables, and the list goes on, and money in the pocket. Yeah.
Indigenous chicken is tasty, usually organic, and fetches higher prices in the markets. In Western Kenya, the demand for indigenous chicken far outstrips supply.
I've been going around looking for clients, and the kind of contract I was supposed to sign, I'm not even able to sign right now, because they're telling me there's somebody who said they wanted 2,000 Kenyeji chicks per week, without fail. So if they're picking every Thursday, they want 2,000. There's a hotel, a restaurant I went to, they just want 200 per week. Me, I'm in brooding business. So when I brood, I sell chicks to farmers who are not able to raise one-day-old chicks. So by the time 1 month is over, the stock that I'm left with is not enough to actually sell to hotels. So the market is actually there. But what our client wants is consistency. If I come to pick chicks from Vivian or meat chicken, will she be able to supply every week, every Thursday, every Wednesday?
Even though poultry farming is a lucrative business, market is still informal. This sector has been affected by many challenges such as unreliable supply of poultry products, poor access to extension services, high mortality rates due to diseases and during transportation, disorganized marketing systems, and the high cost of feeding. Unless farmers understand the problems and can do something about them, they end up making losses. At the same time, farmers need to keep more birds to make a profitable business. In this video, we will learn how farmers can sustainably address challenges facing the production and marketing of indigenous chicken through farmer groups and run profitable enterprises. Poultry farmer groups should invest in promoting good production and marketing practices such as egg hatches, better housing, better feeding, better health management, and collective marketing in order to increase incomes from their poultry. When farmers come together to collectively sell their poultry products, they need to understand they can lower the cost of rearing chickens and introducing weighing of poultry instead of estimating. In this way, when a farmer sells using price per kilo, they get rewarded for their effort. Weighing is the best way to facilitate collective marketing and enhance production. Farmer groups help their farmers to build sustainable poultry housing that is safe and safeguards the birds from predators, thieves, and harsh weather that may cause diseases and losses. In some cases, farmers share their houses with the chicken. This is not a good practice if you want to have chickens as a business.
I think it's important that chicken have their own space, which is clean, because chicks must have a clean environment. And we human beings, we walk everywhere. We are stepping dirt everywhere. If you are staying in the same place with a chicken, that's already dirt. We are not observing biosafety measures. If you noticed, at the brooder, I have disinfectant. You have to step into that before you go into the brooder. But in our normal houses, do we do that? No, we don't do that. So, number one, I think it's not safe for the chicken. And then that can also bring diseases. Then there are very many people looking at the chicken. Everybody's coming, and I don't think it's nice. They need to be just secluded somewhere, and that gives them less stress. And then they can just grow happy and all that. So you have a few people taking care of them who are observing the biosafety measures.
The housing structure for poultry should be well ventilated to allow proper air circulation. One side of the walls should be constructed using mesh wire. A farmer can choose to put sawdust on the floor of the chicken house as a deep litter or use a raised system. The deep litter system absorbs moisture and ensures the floor is not too cold for the chickens, while the raised system can accommodate a large number of birds and collects chicken dropping under the chicken housing. Always maintain good hygiene in the chicken house. After providing a clean and hygienic environment, routine preventive measures form the next line of defense against disease.
Before we bring in the birds, what we do is that we clean it up. We do fumigation, clean it up at least for 1 week, just before the chicks come in. So like a day before they come in, we've already bought the wood shavings, not sawdust, wood shavings, the ones that you get from the carpenter. Yeah. So we dry, we put them in the sun to dry, and then we put them in the brooder. It's usually like about almost 7 inches, like a mattress for the chicks, yeah. And then we spread, it's called dudu dust, just to make sure that the place is completely clean and there are no insects or anything. Then when the chicks come in, we already have bought charcoal, and we also make, I think they're called briquettes, whereby you mix soil and charcoal dust, the ones that remains from the charcoal, yeah. You make a ball, then you dry them in the sun. So when we light the jiko, then we add the briquettes that we have made, the heat lasts longer. So like in our case, when we light in the morning, it will go up to evening, and then evening up to morning. So we don't have to keep adding charcoal and stuff like that. So basically what birds need, the chicks, they want heat, because they don't have a mother. The mother hen is not there, so I am the mother hen. So we give them a lot of heat, and we regulate to the temperature that we have. But because we're also using the jikos and the heaters, when they're feeling cold, they'll gather around where the heat is. When it is too much, they'll go away from the heat. So you can be able to tell, even without looking at the temperature, whether they are okay inside the brooder. So day one, when they come, we normally prepare a little water for drinking, but we pour something called chick start, which is anti-stress. Because the birds have traveled from wherever they've come from, they are stressed out, they are tired, they need energy. They're given that in water, and then we pour some liquid paraffin. This liquid paraffin is supposed to open up their system so that when they start feeding, the food can just go smoothly. So that's the first thing that we give them for energy boosting and opening up their system. Then we give them the feeds. And by the time they're coming, we've already like heated the brooder for like about 2 hours. It is actually warm. And if the chicks are okay, good quality, once they enter there, in a few minutes, you'll start seeing they're jolly, they're happy with the environment, they're drinking water and stuff like that. So food, water, and heat, and a clean environment.
Due to lack of training, many farmers have suffered heavy losses from high mortality rates due to Newcastle and Gumboro diseases, among others. Farmer groups should ensure their farmers have continuous trainings on preventive measures, which include vaccination and parasite control. Always follow the recommended vaccination program to minimize losses. Birds that have access to pastures and outdoor areas will have greater exposure to internal and external parasites. Powder paper or ash should be sprinkled in the shed, patches and nests, making sure it thoroughly gets into the cracks and crevices. In many Western Kenya rural homes, chickens are reared on free-range systems and left to look for food. Often, the chicken are fed with food leftovers. Providing water for poultry is not generally planned for, except when the farmer places some herbs like aloe vera, which is a natural antibiotic in water for medication purposes. Many farmers in Western Kenya lack enough food to feed their families and so are not in a position to reserve or buy feed for their chickens. But supplementing chicken feed in a free-range system doesn't have to be an expensive affair.
Okay, when they come in the first week, what we do is that we give them chick mash. So week 1, we have a feed rationing. So like week 1, we give them like about 12 to 15 grams per chick. So if you have 100 chicks, you calculate how much feed you're going to give them. You weigh, I have a weighing scale. So like let's say there are 100 and you're doing 12 grams, that is 1.2 kgs. So you weigh that amount of food in the morning, yeah? Then we will divide that food into 3 portions. So like we're giving them breakfast, lunch, supper, yeah? You don't just put all the food at once, yeah? So they will eat that chick mash for a whole month. It's just the ratios that will keep changing because as they grow, their feed needs also go higher. So like the second week, we are giving them like about 18 grams per bird. Then third week, 25 grams. Fourth week, 32 grams. Then we just go graduating like that, yeah? Okay, before that last week, like 3 days before they become 1 month, we introduce growers. So we mix a bit of the growers with a chick mash, yeah? Because you see now we are winning them to something else, eh? You don't just bring the growers. Pap, jana alikuwa nakula chick mash, today it's, yeah. So we introduce them like 3 days and then now we let them go on growers. So after like five weeks, yeah, we introduce other things like vegetables. You can get kales, you can get managu. So you introduce one thing at a time, not everything at a go. When you're on the farm, you can't lack something to supplement the birds with, yeah? So when they do growers, we don't give them a lot of growers. For me, I do more of supplements. So like 50% is growers, 50% is supplements. And then of course you make sure there's clean water.
After taking care of production of a quality product, the farmer group can now focus on the markets. There are numerous places where farmers can sell their poultry products collectively. Retail stores, restaurants, hotels, schools, events have huge demand and are willing to pay higher prices to regularly get safe and quality meat. Now, let us look at what we have learned to improve your income from your poultry. Poultry farming as a business can be highly profitable, especially if farmer groups invest in promoting better housing, better feeding, better health management, and collective marketing in order to improve yield, thus earning more incomes from poultry. Farmer groups are well placed to help in addressing the challenges in production and marketing of indigenous chicken, thus improving the returns to their farmers.